So here we have the method. There are 5 steps. First of all, we label the sides we're using, then we write out the formula, we put the numbers in, we rearrange, and then we calculate. So let's go through our method for 2 examples. Here's my first example, and here's my second example. You'll notice they've got exactly the same numbers in them, just perhaps in slightly different places. So let's go through the first one. First thing I'm going to do, label the sides. So remember, the hypotenuse is always the longest side, and it's also opposite the right angle. Hypotenuse is 6, and the x is my other side I'm interested in, and that's opposite 42 degrees, so that's called the opposite side. So I write my formula out. Sometimes there's a mark just for writing out the formula. Not always, but sometimes. So the sine of beta, an angle, equals op divided by height, opposite divided by hypotenuse. Let's put the numbers in, because that's the third step. This is a step at which you definitely know you've got some marks. Sine 42 equals the opposite, which is x, over 6, which is the hypotenuse. This is where the trick I told you about a minute ago comes in. Is x on top, or is x the denominator? X is on top, so I'm going to times. So I take my number, which is 6, and I times it by the trigonometry. Okay, that was my rearranging, and now I'm going to calculate. Put that into your calculator, giving me 4.01. The unofficial final step. Does that make sense for that triangle? Yes, it does, because 6 is the hypotenuse. 6 must be the longest side. Now if we look at this one, exactly the same numbers, but they've been rearranged a little. So we need to go through the whole process again. Don't just assume it's the same as before. So the longest side is the hypotenuse, and 6 is the opposite side because it's opposite the angle. So first thing we do, I know we've just done it, I'm going to do it again because habits are good. Good habits are good anyway. Write the formula. Some people shorten it to O over H. You're absolutely fine to do that. I just happen to like writing op and height. Now we put the numbers in. So the numbers for this are going to be still sine 42 degrees. Then be careful. The opposite is 6. And the hypotenuse is x. Now here, x, what we're trying to find, is the denominator of the fraction. So we're going to divide. So we take our number is 6, and we divide it by the trigonometry. We divide it by sine 42. And that will give us our answer. So let's have a look. 6 divided by sine 42 equals 8.97, 3 decimal places. Sorry, 3 significant places, 8.97. Now does that make sense? Well yes, because x is the hypotenuse. X should be longer than 6, so that does make sense. If you get an answer that doesn't make sense because it's either too long or too short, you may have used the wrong operation. You may have multiplied instead of divided, or divided instead of multiplied. But the general rule, like I said, is x on the top, we times, x is the denominator, we divide. All of the questions on section 1 of your worksheet are like this. All of those have got x being the opposite side. All of the questions on the middle section of your worksheet have x as the hypotenuse side, and the third section is a bit of a mix, so you need to pay real close attention to what's going on there.